hi everyone, and thank you for joining our Tech Talk. Today we'll review how Plaid can help you onboard more customers with frictionless account validation solution. We look forward to sharing the next about 40 minutes discussing the importance of digital account validation and how Plaid is the right partner to help you grow your business. So real quick, meet the team. So you have myself, I'm a product marketing manager over at Plaid. I support the Plaid's Auth, identity, and balance products and spend a lot of time working with product and engineering teams to improve the quality, launch new features, and address feedback from our customers and partners just like you. Shreyas, you want to introduce yourself?
Thanks, Molly. Hey, everyone. I'm Shreyas, and I'm on the product team. I manage our Auth, balance, and identity products. I'm excited to be here today to chat with you about how leveraging the right Auth products and seamlessly validating your customers' financial accounts can lead to increased customer acquisition, engagement, and revenue for you.
Thanks, Shreyas. All right, quickly, just a few housekeeping items on how we're going to work with the Zoom. So you can submit questions using the option at the bottom of your screen. You see Q&A. I've already seen one submitted, so thank you so much, Corey. And we'll be answering a lot of those at the end. We'll be sending also a recording of the Tech Talk via email after today for reference. And finally, we always want to continue the conversation with you. So check out our website, follow us on Twitter and YouTube. Let's go ahead and get started. So for those that are new to Plaid, we build the infrastructure that powers digital financial services. We make it easy for millions of consumers to connect their financial accounts to many well-known digital finance applications in the United States, in Canada, and in Europe. A lot of Plaid solutions can help a variety of use cases. For example, our assets product improves the loan application experience and speeds up approvals for lending from 3 to 7 days, just to a matter of seconds. If your organization is looking to build a holistic view of a consumer's financial health, our suite of products, including investments, transactions, and liability, help you deliver personalized investment advice. Shreyas, help us zoom in on today's use case.
So today we'll focus on something that's fundamental in many use cases. It's going to be around account opening and account funding. Specifically, we'll showcase how to leverage Plaid's Auth product, which enables seamless, instantaneous account validation to help you onboard more customers with funded accounts, all with a great user experience. We'll focus today on Auth, our account validation product, but at Plaid, we view Auth, identity, balance as a full suite solution to enable your business for ACH online payments. Before we do that, though, we'll cover 3 big topics. The first is we'll cover the consumer and industry trends about digital finance. A lot's changed in the last 18 months, especially in a post-COVID world. Second, we will help you understand how to onboard more customers faster and easier through our best-in-class Auth user flow for account validation. And finally, we're going to provide a framework to help you decide which Auth product is right for you and how to get started quickly. If you're new to Plaid, this is a great introduction to a key aspect of our account opening and funding solution, or Auth product. And if you already use Instant Auth today, which is our flagship Auth flow, you'll learn new ways to increase your coverage and convert even more customers. So why don't we go ahead and get started? Molly, do you want to walk us through some consumer and industry trends?
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Shreyas. So we all recognize that digital finance is in high demand. Consumers are shifting more and more of their financial habits and needs online. There's increased demand for better, faster digital account validation in order to facilitate money movement and account funding. So let's zoom out globally to start. So the use of mobile wallets for point of sale payments exceeded cash for the first time in the months following the pandemic at 26%. By 2024, just in a few short years, 1 in 3 point of sale payments are expected to be made via mobile wallets. Next, mobile peer-to-peer growth actually decelerated right before the pandemic, but since it has only accelerated. In 2020, PayPal added 73 million net new accounts and saw a 24% increase of active accounts. This totaled over $936 billion in payment volume. Finally, this is my favorite part. It's mind-blowing. The brokerage industry exploded and added roughly 10 million new investors in 2020. More than 6 million of those went to Robinhood. That's 60% of new investors. The retail investing trend continued to explode in early 2021. Another 8 million net new retail investors entered the market in January and February alone. So in the last 18 months, over 20 million new investors have emerged, most of them exclusively online. So more consumers are now online and ready to digitally move their money, yet card payments are expensive, with basis points up to 3.5% of the transaction. Plus, most do not support bidirectional money movement with the consumer. RTP is a growing payment rail, though the coverage is slow and it only supports one-way money movement. So among all the ways to facilitate money movement, ACH is the preferred option by our customers, just like you. It's cheaper with broad coverage. And most importantly, for many payment use cases, it supports bi-directional money movement, push and pull with the consumer. So ACH transactions are more relevant than ever. More than 7 billion payments were processed by the ACH network in the second quarter of 2021, a 10% increase from the same period in 2020. The value of those payments was over 18 trillion, an almost 25% increase from the year earlier. So while there's been a ton of innovation in the digital money movement space, ACH transactions are more relevant than ever, and the ability to complete a successful ACH transaction online is crucial to scale your business. So while ACH is growing, fraud is also a growing problem for ACH transactions. So among other services, Nacha writes the rules that govern the ACH network. Plaid is proud to be a Nacha preferred partner. So to help minimize fraud, in March 2021, only a few months ago, Nacha updated the requirement for ACH originators that file ACH web debits. In other words, if you're pulling money from a consumer's bank account via ACH, you must validate the account. So now you're required to use a commercially reasonable fraudulent detection system. That includes account validation. Previously, account validation had not been part of the fraud requirement, but this rule changed that. So digital account validation is now a must-have to facilitate ACH transactions online. So whether in consumer payments, lending, banking, or wealth management, you need to scale your business digitally. To do so, it is key to be able to facilitate ACH web transactions. But getting consumers signed in with validated accounts is traditionally a very cumbersome and manual process. It can take at times over 7 days with traditional methods. Additionally, there are many consumers out there who bank with regional financial institutions, and they still expect, and frankly deserve, a seamless and instant onboarding experience. One customer told us that up to 65% of their accounts opened went unfunded within the first 30 days before they switched over to Plaid. And there could be many culprits for this leaky bucket: a cumbersome manual process that takes too long for a digital consumer, maybe a non-intuitive user experience with so many screens and clicks the user just exits out before they link their bank, or a solution that does not have 100% of coverage with US financial institutions. These are just to name a few. Shreyas will talk us through kind of the various solutions at large.
Cool. So as Molly described, there are many ways to validate an account that satisfies the Nacha requirements. From manual validation, such as getting a void check from your customer, which is often frustrating and has low conversion, to microdeposits that require your customers to return and verify the amounts deposited, all while you need to manage the transactions and potential return rates. All these manual options are time consuming and come with a high operational cost to you, with likely less customers. Then there's the instant verification, which aligns the expectations of a digital consumer. It offers a fast and seamless experience that results in high conversion. Instant verification is Plaid's gold standard way of doing account validation. At Plaid, we've built a suite of Auth products delivered by a best-in-class user experience to help you stop the leakage and increase conversion, which ultimately increases engagement and revenue. Better yet, our instant solutions enabled you to leverage broader financial data for your business needs, such as identity and balance. So why don't we talk about how to get your accounts funded? At Plaid, we're always centered around our customers, so you don't need to take it from us that our account validation solution with additional data products is best in class for account opening and funding. Chime, for example, is a neobank serving 12 million members. For their full account opening and funding process, Chime leverages Plaid's full suite solution, Auth, which we'll dive into shortly. Plus, the identity product, and balance. When Chime members choose Plaid to link their external bank, which can take as little as 7 seconds, they are 3 times more likely to fund their accounts than those who choose other methods. Chime also verifies whether the person attempting to connect an outside bank account was actually the owner of that account via Plaid's identity product endpoint. As a courtesy, Chime uses our balance endpoint to check a user's account balance in real time before they begin a transfer to fund their Chime account. If there isn't enough money in the outside account, Chime cancels the transaction, sparing the member an overdraft fee at the other bank while reducing their own NSF return rates. It's a win-win. You can achieve all of these with an easy integration with Plaid, and we're here to help get you started. But before we do that, let's dive into our Auth product. I want to introduce Plaid Link. It's our consumer-facing front-end module where all consumers start their journey with Plaid. This is where consumers instantly link their bank account to your application. It's seamless, configurable, and most importantly, secure.
Thanks, Shreyas. So why does Plaid have a consumer-facing module, you might ask? And one key reason is it enables higher conversion. So over 5,000 applications, or 85% of fintech apps, leverage data products enabled by Plaid Link. The experience is consistent and transparent for the millions of consumers that have linked an account with Plaid. In fact, over 330 million consumer accounts have connected their accounts via Plaid Link. After implementing Plaid into their account opening and funding flow, many customers experience a 25% lift in overall conversion. Of course, our obsession with a seamless experience is never done. We spend a lot of time looking for ways to remove friction from the user experience so that a consumer converts into a customer for you. For example, in early 2021, we launched a conversion enhancement feature for returning users. So when one of these consumers returns to any of those 5,000 Plaid-powered applications, we are able to display their previously connected bank accounts for an optimized link flow. This feature alone can increase your conversion with Plaid by 3 to 15%. This is just one of the many ways we ensure our conversion is best in class for your business. So now let's dive into Auth, and the star of the show, if you will. So it's our account validation solution. We call it Auth, short for authentication, which provides verified account and routing numbers after the consumer successfully links their bank account via Plaid Link. We retrieve that account and routing number from the linked bank, and also additional information like account type, account balance just at that time, which is actually cached. And you can see kind of an example of our auth get response on the right-hand side. So at Plaid, our mission is to unlock financial freedom for everyone, which is why we didn't stop at 90% coverage of US depository accounts for our Auth product. We ensure 100% of depository accounts have a path to a successful auth get response. To do so, we optimize for happy and non-happy paths, all within our Auth product. Shreyas, you want to walk us through that?
Yep. So our happy path is instant authentication, which covers more than 90% of all US depository accounts. This flow satisfies Nacho's requirements, and it happens to be under a second. To cover the other 10% and make sure you can service all your customers, no matter who they bank with, big or small, we offer 3 products, and collectively we call them fallback Auth. So as mentioned, why don't we dive deeper into the first big fallback flow, which is called instant match. So some financial institutions don't provide full account and routing numbers, so we can't validate these bank accounts via instant Auth. In this case, instant match can be a great fit, and it's a no-lift solution to increase your Auth coverage. Instant match asks your customer to enter their account and routing number after they've entered their login credentials. We then match the account number entered by the user against mass data returned by the financial institution. And typically, this is the last 4 digits of the account number. We also match the routing number back to the selected institution to remove any potential errors. If we do detect a mismatch, we ask the user to re-enter their account and routing number in case they've made a mistake. This way, we have a chance to correct human errors and minimize potential ACH errors you may receive when you try to make an ACH transaction. Being true to its name, Instant Match also does account validation instantly, just like Instant Auth. Best of all, though, when you enable Instant Match, you're expanding your auth coverage by roughly another 2,500 institutions. Your users who bank with them will be able to connect and authenticate their accounts instantly and smoothly. And Instant Match adds 4% more successful connections after it's flipped on. If you're new to Plaid, you're going to have this feature by default. And if you already use Instant Auth and want to have Instant Match enabled, just let your account manager know. With a flip of a switch on our end, you'll get increased coverage and conversion with Plaid. The second big way that we have for our fallback flow is called automated microdeposits. It's similar to the manual microdeposit flow that a lot of people have used in the past, except we only make one deposit and we perform the deposit verification automatically without needing the user to return. All you need to do is listen to our webhooks and you'll get a near instant authenticated account. And finally, I think everyone is familiar with the last method, which is the manual microdeposit flow. It does require the user to return and verify the deposit amounts, but they can do it within 1 business day with Plaid. And sometimes if they're lucky, they can do it the same day as well. One thing to note is since we're not able to link an account instantly with this flow, it doesn't enable all of the other Plaid products like identity and balance. So you may be wondering to yourself now, how does the UX look like for all these flows and how will my customers choose? Don't worry, we've made this a fluid process. When your customer selects a financial institution, we determine which authentication path is appropriate, and our UI automatically routes the customer to the corresponding auth flow. You can check it out for yourself at plaid.com/demo. Molly, do you mind talking about Xirtu's results after implementing fallback auth?
Yeah, of course. So let's dig into these results. So Virtue is an app that takes the guesswork and awkwardness out of repaying a friend or family member. We've all been there. By digitizing those loans on a simple online platform, many of Virtue's users keep their money at smaller banks and credit unions, so those long tail institutions, accounts that can be difficult to access when it's time to transfer money. In fact, 83% of Virtue's transactions involve one of these smaller banks. So Virtue chose Plaid to connect their users' bank accounts, and the reason was Plaid's superior institution coverage. Plaid connects to over 11,000 US banks and credit unions using one of the 4 auth methods that we discussed. So as a result of implementing all 4 solutions, Virtue has experienced an uptick in onboarding. In the 6 months since they implemented Plaid's auth and fallback methods, they saw an overall conversion increase by 10%. Additionally, they didn't lose any of those consumers that were in those long tail institutions. So Plaid offered another advantage. By instantly verifying the user's account balances, Plaid ensured that there's enough money in the account to make the intended payment. So as a result, 65% of Virtue's users avoided an overdraft fee, which was similar to Chime that we went around earlier. So you may be thinking all these auth flows requires a heavy lift on your part and can break the bank. It's actually no. It's a one-time light development effort, and there's no incremental cost for each additional auth flow up front. It's all your per auth call. Of course, the best part is the results that you'll see. So now we want to talk about how we enable the full suite solution for ACH transactions. So of course, we're centered around our customers. So I'm going to start with a customer example with First Tech. So First Tech Federal Credit Union provides banking, investment, insurance, and tax services to the world's biggest tech companies like Google, Amazon, Microsoft. Before Plaid, the first onboarding flow was high friction. To fund new accounts, members were required to manually input financial information, not only account and routing number, but additionally even the name of their bank and more. This process was not only error prone, but really slow. Once new customers had completed their part of it, the money would take a better part of a week to appear to the new account. Even worse, fraud had become a major issue. So First Tech integrated with Plaid in 2019 to improve this full account funding flow. After leveraging the identity product, First Tech can now verify that the outside account being connected actually belongs to the member attempting to connect it during the account funding step. Being more confident, First Tech was able to increase their initial funding amount limit by 50x. As a result, the average initial funding amount for new members grew by 5x. With Plaid's balance product, First Tech checked the balance in the external accounts before processing a transfer, just like Chime, as we discussed earlier. And previously, members couldn't see this balance in the originating account, and neither could First Tech. This resulted in a lot of unsuccessful transfers and a high amount of painful NSF fees. So now with Plaid, members can see a list of their available accounts along with account balances. This allows them to select the account from which they want to transfer funds and choose an amount they can afford. Plaid enables First Tech to offer members a fast and convenient, more secure way to fund their accounts with all three products, Auth, Identity, and Balance. So we've talked about these a little bit. We really dove in on Auth, but I really just want to take a step back and think about these three products as a suite. These three products, Auth, Identity, and Balance, enable you to complete an entire ACH transactions. And we really think they work really closely together. So it offers account validation for Auth. You can instantly authenticate those bank accounts. Identity verification for identity endpoint. It returns name, address, phone number that's on file at their connected bank account. And this complements existing KYC processes. And then balance, our balance check is in real time. So it's not cash. At the time that you call our balance endpoint, we pull that current and available balance from that account in real time, which greatly reduces the NSF fees for that potential ACH transaction. So all of these together enable you for a full ACH solution, in addition to working with our payment processors. So we're compatible with many different payment processors in the US, Canada, in Europe, and over 20 partners with specializations. We have ACH payouts, digital asset custody, card issuing, invoice and bill payments, and these are only a few. You can see some of the logos on the right-hand side. If you go into our docs, you can see kind of the full list of the over 20 partners that we work with. So with Auth, Identity, and Balance, plus a payment processor, you now can complete an ACH web transaction easily. And with a, you don't have to choose only one processor. You can choose the one that makes sense for you.
Cool.
Right.
So customers are really important to us, especially our developer community. And Plaid solutions are made for developers by developers. We're putting a lot of tools in place for you to build faster and easier with Plaid. One that I want to highlight is actually the dashboard, and it's your command center for monitoring, managing, and taking action. It provides you with high-level insights on what you could do next to improve performance. And you're going to find the core basic tools already there, such as quick start guides and everything you need to troubleshoot user problems and alerts. We are adding more functionality into our dashboard over the next 12 months. And be sure to reach out if you have any questions and potential ideas to help grow your application and business. I hope everything we shared so far gets you excited about building and growing with us. It only takes a few simple steps to get started. First, check out all our docs at plaid.com/docs. Then easily add Auth and all of our fallback Auth flows to your app. Third, leverage our payment processing network to start sending and receiving money. And lastly, test in all of our environments. When you're ready to push to production, reach out to obtain access. I want to thank you all for coming to this tech talk. We hope you found the content helpful. And as a reminder, please submit your questions in the Q&A widget that you see there, and we'll jump into that shortly.
Thanks, Shreyas. We have some questions that have been coming throughout. So I'll take the first one. The first question is, does Plaid require that someone logs in each time that they need to make a payment? The simple answer is no. As long as the item is healthy, so that the credentials do work with that bank account, you can always make auth get calls without needing the user to log in. If the item is in an unhealthy state, maybe the user changed their password, maybe there's been a multi-factor authentication needed to restore access, the item can just be put through update mode, and it will be turned back into healthy, and you can use it at any time. If the item stays healthy, you also can call identity and balance at any time. So it doesn't need to be, the user does not have to be present when you do use the access to that bank account. And then Shreyas, there's also a second one. What happens if the user changes their credentials? It's actually pretty similar.
Cool. Yeah, so if a user actually changes a password, then the user can re-authenticate their item through links update mode. If the user changed a username, the user is actually going to need to go in and create a new item by connecting their account again. I see another question that just popped in. It's about how will end users know when Plaid has verified the deposit amounts on their behalf? So what we're going to do is Plaid's going to alert you, the developer, when deposits have been successfully verified. Developers can then use our webhooks to alert end users to come back into their app or website to validate the actual accounts. The amount, sorry. Molly, do you want to take the next question?
Yeah, so do users have to enter micro deposit amounts in the same order when manually verifying? No, the order doesn't matter. It's really just the amounts that matter. However, if they do enter the amounts incorrectly, and they get 3 tries, and then otherwise they have to start all over, and that's to make sure that there's no kind of fraud within the system.
Cool.
Yep. And then a classic question that we get, Shreyas, if you want to talk about our business account coverage.
Yep. So for business accounts, we do support them with automated microdeposits and same-day microdeposits, and they can be used to authenticate business accounts. It doesn't really work with instant auth or instant match as well.
Okay, thanks for that. So we have another one. I'm interested in a cost-effective ways to process these transactions through ACH, and we're currently planning on using a Notcha file. So that would work with Auth identity and balance as well. And if you want to use a processor to help you with that Notcha file, you can choose from any of those 20 processors to help you do that. Otherwise, if you want to, act as that originating financial institution, you can just use all 3 Plaid products to help you ensure that the account is validated to be compliant with Notcha, the identity is known to reduce any fraud, and then reduce your NSF fees through balance.
Cool. There's one question that popped in, which was, what does Plaid consider to be a good success rate for bank linking funnel via PS2D? Are the benchmarks that you can be shared at a geographic level, example in Europe and the UK? For a good success rate in terms of users attempting to link their accounts, we don't have a specific benchmark. It is very use case specific as well as very vertical specific. When we examine traffic for an institution, we don't consider it healthy unless the majority of connections are successful or if they're failing due to user action.
Yeah, and one thing just to add to that, I think, Shreyas, is on the benchmarks, well, we don't have kind of like a high level benchmark. We do have those verticals that Shreyas talked about. So if you work actively with an account manager, feel free to have them kind of go through those and compare your specific conversion with overall kind of our ecosystem in those vertical endpoints. And you guys can discuss best practices and ways to increase conversion. There's a few more that are popping in. Thanks for continuing to keep the questions flowing. So does Instant Match also have access to balance and identity product? Shreyas, you want to take that one?
Yep. Instant Match does. So it's a simple yes. With Instant Match, you get balance, identity, and of course the auth product. The only one that doesn't get balance and identity is that same day manual micro deposit flow. But even automated micro deposits gets the balance and identity product.
And then someone asked about pricing on each endpoint. So pricing is specific to each customer, but for all of these auth flows, it will all be for the same amount for auth. So it's one price. We optimize for the different ways that the user can go through Plaid Link for an authenticated account. You don't have to worry about which flow it is depending on cost optimization.
Cool. There's one question here about how ACH payments can support quicker refunds and what are our thoughts on future growth of ACH for consumer payments versus traditional debit and credit cards. So I think there's a pretty common, everybody thinks that ACH is rather slow, but ACH actually has a same day ACH feature where if you send ACH payments before certain cutoff times, you actually get those funds and settlements that same day. So we think that if your operations can support it, it could be a very quick way for managing refunds. In terms of the second part of the question, where what we think the future growth of ACH for consumers versus traditional debit and credit cards is you don't need to take it from us. If you look at the stats for ACH, it's one of the fastest growing rails out there for the financial institution. It's a rail that we really like and that we are going to continue to support.
There's a question on do any of the partnerships that process payments tailored for larger transfers? I know some of these are based off a percentage of your total money transferred. We definitely have like a wide range of partnerships. Feel free to go through kind of the partnerships on our docs. It's kind of within the auth part of our documentation online. We partner with Square, for example. We partner with Dwala. A lot of those do have per transaction fees, but there's also some additional ones that are focused on business accounts. So take a look. If you don't see one that would apply to your use case, reach out and let us know. We're actively expanding that network to ensure that we have all the different kind of ACH processors in place for our customer base.
Cool. There's one really great question here, which is, I know that Auth really works for the me-to-me use case, which is like I'm funding one account that I own to another account. Does it work in the P2P use case? Example, if I want to pay someone and have their routing and account number, can this be accomplished with Plaid? So currently, what would need to happen for this to work with Plaid is you would actually need both peers to kind of authenticate via Plaid, and then you would get both account and routing numbers where you could then transfer funds from one account to another account.
Yeah, and one of our key customers is both Venmo and Cash App, and so those type of peer-to-peer payment use cases are definitely something that we support and know how to leverage those platforms. If you have any questions, of course, reach out to support or your account manager. Yeah, this one is near and dear to my heart. I always like thinking about conversion. So any recommendations to reduce churning during Plaid's link flow? So any drop off throughout. So the one that I shared earlier is our returning user experience. And so, now that, 330 million accounts in the United States have been connected through Plaid, we have a lot of data on people that have, connected maybe to one application and are connecting to another. Maybe they're a Coinbase user and a Robinhood user and a Venmo user, for example, and they've gone through that flow individually on each account or each application. Instead of doing that, we've now optimized the link flow. So if you opt into our returning user flow and send us some data, we'll create a short list of that previously connected financial institution, and the user has less clicks and only either needs to do a one-time passcode on the verified phone number or just enter in their password. So less entry to go through that flow. And that I've seen for my customers, it really ranges. Conversion is very specific to the application and motivation for your overall users. And so it ranges from like 3 to 15%. So that's one. Additionally, there are a few things that we've made kind of opt-in on the dashboard. So one, we recently have an automatic institution select. So the institution select list at the top is dynamic to your application and to the IP address of the user. So that, it's not just the same national banks at the top. It's really tailored to that user, so they don't have to use the search when available. And then the other one we recently launched, which I think is great to talk about the partnership with your application. We released a co-branded Plaid link consent pane. And so it takes your logo, it takes Plaid's logo, and really shows visually how we're working together for the security of these accounts. And we've seen that increase some conversion as well. So consumers understand, you know, what is the relationship with Plaid a little bit better, and it's a cleaner handoff, I would say. So there's just a few off the top of my head that are specific to Plaid Link. But if you think about Auth as your main primary endpoint, adding all 4 Auth flows really increase your conversion. Like we talked about Virtue, they increased 10%. You know, we've seen some people increase up to 30%, for example. So it's definitely something you should take advantage if you aren't today.
Cool. There's a fun question here that asks, in your experience, since the microdeposit flow does not offer balance and identity, therefore the account could be a potential risk, should we avoid using it? I think this is really dependent on the vertical and who you're actually serving. If you kind of look at demographics and look at, you know, people who skew towards the younger side of things, instant auth and instant match is very okay with that group and that generation. However, there is a cohort of users who are very experienced with just giving their routing and account number in order to write checks, make payments. And so for that reason, we don't think it should be avoided, but we are going to try and get those folks to use some of the other auth methods that we have, such as like instant auth and instant match. We consider it to be an important auth flow.
Yeah, it will add, you don't get the benefit of our data products, but it's definitely a good flow to ensure you have 100% of coverage and have that fallback solution. Thanks for Shreyas for walking through that. So those are the questions that all came through. You know, please reach out to Plaid, please reach out to your account manager if you have any other questions about auth, identity, or balance, and really focusing on account funding, account opening and funding. But we'll be closing these out. So like I said at the top of the hour, this session has been recorded and will be sent over email for your reference. Feel free to forward it within your organization as you guys are thinking about what's best for your business. And, you know, continue the conversation with us on Twitter and YouTube, and really appreciate everyone's time for joining and learning in detail about our auth flows.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.